2x2 formation. Road change now, we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill, they head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that truck inside line. Yes, he did. Through he goes.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to AOR's Tier 1 Race 5, Barcelona. I am your host, Mr. RageF1, and I'm joined, as always, by Jamie Ellis. He's back. He found his way out of wherever he was stuck, inside Boots Pharmacy, I think, and he's back with us for another round. How you doing, buddy?
Kimon, I'm good.
Hello.
Back.
Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
Okay, we've got lots of people in here, so I think we might have to move because we are live, guys. So just give us 2 secs and keep us up to date with what happens. Please, no one swear. There we go. That was some of the coordinators. I'm not too sure why they dragged us. Jay possibly will follow us back with some information. Yeah, I'm not too sure why they dragged us up there. We do have some interesting updates this evening, Jay. And before we get into that, you are suffering a little bit today, so I'll go easy on you, right?
I mean, never go easy on me, man. But yeah, I'm not fighting fit yet.
Okay. Well, it's good to have you back in the box. I'm not going to lie, it's good to have you back. But we do have some problems, don't we, this evening? Unfortunately, we can't go live straight to the racing because we have some server issues. Now, we're not too sure if this is by the way of DDoS. They finally caught up to us, Jay. They finally found us, and we are having issues. So...
Oh no, they routed through the secret offices in Panama.
Oh god, yeah, I know. They found our back route through Argentina and Chile, then on to Panama and Colombia, and they managed to find us. But yeah, anyway, that's where Jay normally runs his cocaine. But we unfortunately we route our servers that way too, don't we, Jay?
Well, we don't anymore. Especially now you've told everybody the secret back door. Jesus,
God, no.
Rule one.
Oh,
no,
damn.
I mean, yeah, we might just have to have a bit of patience.
Yeah, I think
at
so.
the moment, as they try and work out what's going on.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Mini Simeon's joined us into the chat and said, "What's this swarm of commentators called?" There is only 2 of us. I don't know why we were joined by lots of them. I think they were just pulling us in to give us an update. Jay, I don't know if you want to just run over maybe into that little chat and see what the consensus is, because we might technically have a red flag before we've even got going, and that would be a shame.
Only problem is I can't see that room.
Ah, okay, that was a secret room for secret people.
I think it was.
Okay, all right. Well, I do have some news actually. Let's maybe let's have a little look. Okay, so yeah, he was just letting us know that the servers are 100% dead. Then realised that you were about to go live. So sorry. Well, there you go. There is the update. The servers are dead and dying, and we'll have to just kind of resume as and when they are good to go. I'll keep my eye on what's
the old
happening.
trusty AOR defribs.
Yeah, I mean, just give it a little reboot. Yeah, give it a hump and pump into the old the main vein, and hopefully they can get it going. Well, should we give a rundown?
I'm not sure you put it to the main vein. I'm not sure how that works.
Well, why would you not? Get it going straight away.
It's normally where the heart is, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't like put it on the inside of your leg or your neck.
Yeah, you got to find that. You got to find that artery directly to that
Restart
heart,
the
brother.
vein.
Yeah.
That's the key.
you gotta get it going quickly, you know. You pop the old defib on the left testicle and give it a burst and see if they wake up quick fast. That's the way forward. That's what the NHS has been doing wrong all these years, Jay.
Apparently so. Get a memo down there.
I
Or
would
not.
straight
Or
away.
not.
Get old Matt Hancock on that. Right. Yeah, no. Luke Whitehead currently leading the championship with 353 points. What a gap. Grantis Caracas, I mean, it's not a clean sweep that he wanted, but it is still win-win-win. 7th place, so, you know. Grantis Caracas in 2nd place with 282 points. Tinker van der Velde, current reigning champ, with 278 points. So it's getting hot for 2nd, I must say. Leon Burnt, out of nowhere, in 4th place with 206 points. Jardet off the back of a break with 197, and Statsenko with 195. Tadej Stukovikas with 170 in 7th place. 154 points to Inostroza in 8th. 9th place is Valentin Barry with 145. 10th is Abeladze with 139 off of his win last time around. So, there you go. That's where we are at the moment, where we're getting with the servers. There's many memes going on in the Discord right now, but not many resolutions.
That's fine. We have patience.
We do have some patience.
Wait long enough, I might be 100% by the time we get to lights
We
out.
might age by the time we actually go lights out here, guys.
Well, we'll obviously age.
Oh, okay. Well, that's inevitable, I guess.
Technically.
Technically. Right, well,
The
what I will
inevitability
say
of
is,
life, but yeah, go on.
how are the levels on the stream, guys? I've changed some stuff up because I noticed in the last stream we had some awkward peaking moments. Nothing, you know, from the Far East, but yeah, we're right here. Hopefully, it's not peaking
Might be the
anymore.
best joke you've done, ironically, for quite a while. Peak, for fuck's sake.
Oh dear. Where is peaking?
I don't know. It was just a classic wordplay. I loved it.
Was it? I've heard there's loads of ducks.
You have been peaking for
Loads
a little bit. I did keep forgetting to tell you, but I think it's from our balancing issues last year.
Yes.
That one race, but yeah, peaking. I don't know. Is it a place? Is it a style of cooking?
I mean,
it's a place.
it's got to be a place. I'm going to say Indonesia. Architeuthis Sorry, go on.
Oh no! Don't worry.
Okay, right. Should we move on? Architeuthis says malt vinegar from barley, spirit vinegar, molasses, sugar, salt, anchovies, tamarind extract, onions, garlic, spice, and flavourings. I don't know what that is.
Some people are confirming what I googled and didn't think was correct, but yeah, it used to be what Beijing was called.
Okay, so the
Then it was
old name
renamed.
for Beijing. Do you reckon it was named like Beijing for political reasons?
No,
No.
they wouldn't do that.
Countries never change the names for political reasons, do they?
No.
I've never
Sure,
heard
it
that
didn't
before.
have any negative annotations towards a previous establishment.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. Oh well, I love it that if you own your country, just generically, a lot of people do own their countries. We won't get to that. But you can just decide to change the name of your country whenever you want. Like Turkey recently have just decided to call themselves Turkey, yeah? Like they're asking a Canadian question, you know?
Because of all those people that were going out for Christmas dinner to buy a turkey and accidentally buying the country turkey. 'Cause it was incredibly confusing, obviously.
Damn it,
That
Derek,
is
you've come
genuinely
home.
Apparently the reason they did it was the confusion with the food.
I genuinely think it is because it's
No,
almost...
no. I think that was the press release.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine just like your husband comes in and instead of you've got a lovely roast dinner, you've got tickets to Antalya. You know, it's like, why have you done this? Oh dear.
Pack your bags and bought Istanbul.
Yeah. How much did it cost? You don't want to know, love, but Christmas is off this year.
I don't know, but they might be a bit disappointed with the stuffed bird that I've given them in their place.
Okay. Oh dear. Right, I'm gonna do a little search. Let's see if it's back up. I don't think it is. I
It's
think
not, no.
and we're still dead. We're still dead.
I
in
mean,
the
they've
water.
had to take the entirety of the Apex servers down while they work on whatever's going on.
Oh no, it's not a very good bit of news right there. So apparently it was renamed post-colonially after Mao's revolution in China in the 50s. There you go.
Is that
Nothing ever happened then, did it? Bad. Nothing was bad then, was it? It was all fine.
That's what I've heard.
I've heard it was all fine.
Peaceful
Oh dear.
section of history.
We're definitely not making.
Someone
light
get a
of the...
server on.
Yeah, go on, hurry up, please.
It's gonna go bad.
We're getting into the trials and tribulations of Mao.
Mute coughing if it picks it up.
It's okay, don't you worry. You mute cough away. I'll continuously get us into hot water.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What a position to be in.
I know.
Just hovering in there.
Just hovering over political hot water.
Half the servers globally are back up, so apparently it might have been a global issue.
Oh wow.
Which has happened before, basically.
It just so happens to happen at 19:30 on a Monday afternoon that it decides to go down.
Timing.
Very. Yeah. Mini Simeon saying coffee time it is then. Yes. Right. Well, question for you, boys and girls listening to the stream. What country is the biggest provider of coffee in the world? Or producer, sorry. It will surprise you.
I know the answer to this, and it's not what you think.
Okay. All right.
I can't remember.
Well, hold that thought. I can quite nicely engage with everyone here. So, what country? Talk amongst yourselves.
We will.
Just give that a little quick spell check because I know how bad I am. There we go.
No, your spelling is normally impeccable.
I've heard that it is.
I've heard the Oxford English Dictionary does often call you up just for clarification.
Yes, more than often. Should we add a left field one here? What should we do with a... Think of where you can normally get coffee from. Where else can you get coffee?
Italy.
Oh, good. Okay. Sure. There we go. It's definitely not Italy, right? So whoever put Italy, you're all wrong. There you go. You got yourself a little...
Just double bluff them.
Oh, it could be a double, triple bluff. You never know. Guys, if anyone's just joined us, we are waiting. We are waiting for the servers to restart so we can get into this race. It will be happening. We've had a global outage, I think, and it's definitely not down to those DDoS boys. I think it is legitimately an issue with the servers. So we will be with you. We will be racing today. We'll be seeing who is going to come out top dog in Barcelona. Let's maybe get into a little bit of the who's who of Barcelona. Historically, I think it is gonna provide quite a good position for the likes of Luke Whitehead, possibly George Boothby in that Ferrari. Tinker van der Velde will be up there too. But do you think anyone's going to have it in the back pocket to get one past Luke?
We'll have to see. It's
Don't you sit on that fence.
A pretty wet race.
Oh yeah.
No, okay, Luke's going to win. I mean, no one else might as well turn up. Is that what you want? No. We have to speculate. That's what you have to do.
Oh, dear.
I mean, it's going to be a very wet race, so that adds a bit of variability, a bit of unpredictability, especially in the opening laps. So we'll have to see. He was looking good in practice, but as were a few others as well. Van der Velde, who picked up a fairly good result last time out in Bathurst, didn't he?
He did. Should we go over what happened in Bathurst? We might as well. Abadadze came out with the W, maximum of 100 points. Tinker van der Velde with 88. Gert Fischer with their climactic coming together on the final lap was fantastic. He came away with third place. Leon Berndt was fourth. Angel Inestrosa was fifth. And then you got Grantis Caracas, Luke Whitehead, sixth and seventh. Now they started outside the top 20, those boys, and they managed to get up into sixth and seventh. That's how the mountain can be sometimes, right?
Yeah, you just got to keep it pointing in the right direction, stay out of trouble, and you can get points from anywhere. That's obviously what those guys did, yeah. So it was a bit of a swing in the championship, not as much as it maybe needed against Luke. So was he sixth or seventh?
Who's that? Grantis was before him. and then Luke was 7th. Yeah, so Grantis was 6th. Yeah, you got beaten.
So that incredibly weak round for Porsche went pretty all right.
It went pretty all right, yeah, to the dismay of some of the boys around him. Like Tinker van der Velde was somewhat despondent in our little conversation afterwards, but Gert Fischer was jubilatious when he joined us because he'd come away with a 3rd place. It could have been 2nd. Did you see the comings together?
I did.
It's
yeah.
fantastic, yeah. Architeuthis joined us in the booth. He says on the chat, "Did Jamie find the cigarette butts he left down the back of his comms chair?" We said we had to peel you
appear
off.
to have swallowed them.
Oh no! Oh dear.
And that might be more and more apparent as the stream goes on.
Oh
But,
no! Well, I'll try as much.
It.
I'll try and help you out as much as possible. Well, I think we've flim-flammed and talked as much as we can about what's going on currently with AOR. Should we go on to other things racing? I mean, Jay know fair amounts of other bits and pieces. What did you reckon for the race we just had?
Impromptu F1 podcast.
Yeah, might as well go straight back into F1. What did you think of the first race?
It was a good day, wasn't it?
Do you think it was a good day? Is that sarcasm right there?
It was a good day for Fernando.
Oh, it was.
And for Aston.
Yeah.
It just keeps that dream alive that you get it right, you can get it right and move.
Yeah.
Like you can make a big jump between the seasons, and I think that's the dream that keeps alive. And it was just great to see his racecraft as well. Like,
you forget how fucking fantastic that man is at a switchback, don't you?
I mean, he made multiple world champions look average.
I know. Yeah, it's very, very good driver, isn't he? On his day, sometimes he's the best, isn't he, really, when you think about it? But a little bit worried about the pace of the Red Bull?
Not yet.
Really?
It's Bahrain. It's not really a track much like the others. I'd wait for the smoothness of Jeddah and then a very different conventional track of Australia before we judge it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really only one track, and Bahrain's normally an outlier.
I mean, it did ebb and flow
much
throughout the season last, you know. We had some of the Ferraris came back towards the middle part of the season, and obviously slowly Mercedes kind of got their act together. Well, it was quite telling after the race that before the race went on, Toto was saying, "Oh, you know, we need to make a snap decision whether we, you know, continue down with this architecture or we make we make a complete switch." And after the race, he was very much on tune with we need to do something radically different. So, you know, chances that those zero side pods kind of, you know, that whole idea goes out the window come, you know, maybe Australia, maybe after then.
We'll see. What he's asking of them is utterly is a massive task. Like to do it within the cost cap as well, to redesign an entirely new car is bonkers. I understand his frustration, but I can't see them bringing a completely new car this season. But it shows that their frustration with where they are. But we'll see.
Yep,
I think the server is back up.
It is. I'm just getting a spectator password because I don't think we have one.
Yeah, different.
I'll get you one now. There you go, buddy. There you go. No one else saw that. So that's
but yeah, I mean, yes, okay. Red Bull looked empirical. It looked really, really good, but let's wait and see. I think Ferrari really weren't that far off in quality. It was their tyre management that seems to be the real issue, which should just be set up. So.
They were straight back at it with the errors and issues, though, weren't they? With the old problem with Leclerc's car, just instantly back with the gremlins. Yeah, I think Charles was somewhat despondent after that, and yeah, the pace of science just wasn't there. Really, it seemed didn't turn up, in my opinion. Wasn't quite where the Spaniard normally is. But alas, we digress.
He's struggling more than anyone with the that tyre wear. Leclerc seems to be able to manage it a bit better. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I think the other exciting thing is, as well, Aston, where they are, that's a completely new car and concept.
Yes.
You think how much time you can find in a new concept normally. You've got the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari that are just, you know, evolutions of last year.
Yes.
Aston should be able to find a real good chunk of time for the first half of the year. So, yeah, let's not all say it's championship over just yet.
Let's not all jump on the championship's over bus, is what you're trying to say.
No, I mean, it is in all likelihood over, but...
Okay, let's maybe just we grab onto the handrails of the championship's over bus and, you know, hopefully pray that nothing else happens.
Our year, yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, like I say, we digress into the world of Formula 1, but we do have a race underway now, I must say. Free practice, however, is on the board of an hour. I don't think that's going to stand for much longer, so these boys are desperately going out to try and get a little bit of racing under their belts. It's going to be rainy, guys. The server will be rain. It's how long they hold on to this practice. I might give them 5 or so minutes before they switch it over onto the actual race, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Just make sure everything's okay, everyone's in, and then on to a quali.
Fingers crossed.
Which, yeah, should be interesting. I can't remember the last time we had a fully wet quali. It's we'll certainly test the drivers. Maybe bring a few different people to the forefront that might specialise in the wet weather. You never know.
True.
Also, a lot about timing when it's this wet.
Did you have a look on the practice server, roughly, who was kind of running towards the top end of the grid?
Yeah, it was Luke.
Okay.
He got a lap in late. Jardio was up in the top 3 as well as, I think, Van der Velde.
Yep.
So, 3 different cars, usual suspects. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be about timing with getting the best track conditions when it's this wet.
Okay, well, we got a lot of the boys in, I must say. We've got 30 of them in total. Not too sure how many we should be having this afternoon, but it's probably coming to that kind of area anyway. So, guys will probably be going into the qualifying session within the next 5 minutes, I would have thought. We've got 30 drivers here. We're probably waiting on maybe a few more just to fill the ranks. I'm not too sure what's going on with the operational side of things at the moment. There might be a little word somewhere. Let's see. I've asked the question, and we shall get the answer momentarily. Well, okay, they got practice at least to get a few laps under their belts before we go racing here in Barcelona. I got no idea what a wet time is around here. No clue. Did they have any kind of? Well, there you go. There's an idea. Well, 153-ish is what Jardier's just put down. Inestrosa a few tenths off him. So Jardier looking good today, you reckon? Good shout for a podium.
He looked pretty good in practice. The Honda looks decent. So, yeah, I mean, like most of the drivers, they are as strong in the wet as the dry normally. But, yeah, I'll have to wait and see.
Chat saying that we should be getting to the 152s. Alright, fair enough. It might seem a little high, but you never know. Track temp's got down quite far. 22 degrees, ambient of 18, so we'll see. He was looking good in front of that GT4 car, was he?
Yeah, a lot will depend on what the track state is when it ticks over to quali, as to how wet it is, as to what times we'll see. But that's the thing, you don't really have benchmarks when it's wet in quali. You just have to go out there and normally string together 4 or 5 laps and hope one of them's good enough for the position you want.
So, Sem just coming in with the, will you run the full 53 minutes of practice? That'll be no. That'll be a big no. So we had a slight delay to the race, I'm sure, as some of you guys, or most of you guys are aware. So yes, we will be running straight through this, I would have thought, momentarily, and into the race. I think we're just waiting for maybe 1 or 2 drivers to get in. We'll probably give them a lap or so just to get familiar, and then they'll go straight into the race itself. I wouldn't have thought it would tick much past 50 minutes, and we'll go straight into the
No, they
qualifying.
said 2 minutes about a minute ago.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go.
We're nearly there.
Almost there.
Thank you, everybody, for being patient. And we'll have our normal crazy hour action for you shortly.
151 the times have been, and Jardier leading the way, Remy Papin just behind. 151.9. So, Abusive, FPV, and Sem, who was it said? 152. That was Abusive, wasn't it? So he was right. 151, actually. But I don't think some of the boys have even taken the chance to get out on track. They're all waiting for it to go into the next session, as are all of us. I think everyone's here now, aren't they? Right, let's go with a few predictions then, before we get carried away. What are you saying for qualifying 1, 2, 3, Jay?
I'm gonna go Whitehead, Van der Velde, and Jardier.
Oh, wow.
It's not very unconventional, but it's in all likelihood.
Yep, quite right. Well, we have gone on to the second session, so we are just about to leave. And talking of the Whitehead man himself, maybe we should go on board for a qualifying session with Luke and see how he gets on here around a very wet and windy looking, well, not windy, but definitely wet, Barcelona. It's no wind whatsoever, 0 kilometres, so wet and lack of wind it should be. No wind whatsoever. But it be rainy.
It do be wet.
It do be wet
And
indeed.
that's good for us.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Not foreseeing what's going on ahead of the car, but
No. Well,
in terms of the excitement it should bring.
hopefully. I'm going to go for Luke Whitehead on pole, Grantis Caracas on the front row with him in second place, and then Jardier in third, Tinker Van der Velde in fourth.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. I could be wrong.
Francis has struggled a little bit to match Luke in quality pace so far. But
All right, Mr. Realism.
maybe that. Just having a conversation, mate. I'll just agree. Well, I'll agree with everything in future. It's fine.
Really joking.
No, I know.
So who's out there running round first? I think it might be. Is it Valentin Barrier who's out there? It is, yeah. And then Jardier's just behind him. So Valentin Barrier is going to be the first person to set pace here. But he is punching away through that air. So I'll be surprised if he comes away with the highest time. Where is Angel Inestrosa? Oh, he's a little bit further back with Samir Foch, just tailing that little group. Luke Whitehead's behind him. Oh, struggling with rear end grip. I'm not surprised, really. It's a Porsche, isn't it? And it's in the wet. So he's trying to get himself a little bit of space here. He's holding people up, though. I guess he's trying to make a little bit of a gap for him to try and find some time in the guy, towards the guys in front.
Yeah, he'd caught Angel in the mid part of that lap, so he just wanted to give him a bit of space in it. To be honest, everybody should afford themselves the time to do that.
Yep.
Plenty of time in the qualifying session, plenty of track space. Sort it out and make sure you got the space for a couple of laps of attack.
So we're on board with Luke Whitehead. Knocks it down through turns 1 and 2. Gingerly on the accelerator. A little bit of a correction coming out of 2, but nothing disastrous. Finds that line of grip as he exits, I think it's 4. He wants to say 4. No, it's 3. No, it's not. It's 2. It's 1, 2, then into 3. Sorry. This is 3. No, it's not. It's 4. It's been a while, Jamie. Down into 5.
The numbers. Stop the count. They're dead. Yeah, looking fairly neat and tidy through the middle section here. This will be the telling bit. The downhill left-hander, so easy to overcook this and take too much exit curb. But you want to get on the throttle as soon as you can and use it anyway. But make sure the car's straight when you get on that power and flick it right. About 4th gear. Little downshift there, actually. Car drifts out wide. Watch that curb on the exit. That is brutal in the wet. And down to the heavy braking zone of the left-hander. Car stops, turn in as early as possible to get on the power again as quickly as you can, and you're pretty much flat through here in the dry, not sure in the wet. Yep, no problem. Flick it down a gear through the right hand, a little bit of understeer kicks the car out left, but he sorts that out quick enough. Get back on the power through the right hander, keeps it nice to get the turn in for the hairpin. Now be patient, and then full throttle. Oh, a lot of exit curb there. The car didn't really comply on exit. Flat even here in the wet. Down towards the line as we get our first times of the quali session then. And he displaces Angel Inestrosa to be on provisional pole for the moment. Jardier into P3, Samir Foch P4.
Tinker Van der Velde does jump into P2 after all of that, displaces Inestrosa and puts him down 1. Where's the teammate then? Grantis Caracas comes across the line. 6th place for him. Looks like Mr. Realism was probably somewhat correct at the moment. He's 1 and 2.
I'm sorry.
1 and 2 predictions have come reality. Never mind. We'll see how that pans out for the rest of the session. But yeah, looks like Grantis has got a little bit of work to do on his team, mate. But, you know, conditions are wild. So there's plenty of time to be made up in that lap that Luke had. We saw the exit of, I think it was 16 or 15 to 16 was somewhat... not as good as it could have been, right? But that final sector has had a lot of changes recent, hasn't it? Turn 10's been opened up and elongated, and then 14, 15, 16 is now, well, 14, 15's completely disappeared, isn't it?
It will be for F1. I mean, that's always been there, part of the track.
That's what it used to be back in the Schumacher days, right?
Yeah, and I think it's the one MotoGP still work. Kurt Fisher, by the way, on that opening lap, did put himself up into P2, just 200ths of a second behind Luke, so that's a really good opening effort from the BMW. Yeah, no, it's going to make it, I don't know if we'll get it in ACC and GT tracks as well. It'd be nice to see that final chicane. I like it, but I can understand why people don't. Yeah, it'll be a lot faster paced track. You can get rid of it completely and just keep on the throttle for a much higher speed right-hander instead.
It takes the finickiness out of the last sector, right? It's a bit of a funny little left and then right of turn 14 to 15. It's not my favourite part of the racetrack, so I'm not surprised that they've decided to modify it slightly.
No, I understand why people don't like it. I've just always kind of liked the flow through there. Or I've been good at the flow through here. I've always been good at Barcelona, so I guess it's from a selfish point of view. I don't want them to get rid of the hairpin because I can deal with it. But Luke Whitehead extended that gap to nearly 3 seconds, bit off. Patet has actually got that Ferrari up into P2. We said whether some guys would, you know, we'd see come to the forefront in the rain that we don't normally see up there. That's a brilliant lap from him, just a tenth shy of Luke Whitehead at the moment to be on the front row. Petchenko in the Ferrari also up into P3 now then. So those times continue to fall. So some people getting it right a bit earlier than the people we would expect to be up there at the moment.
Yeah, there's definitely movement going on. At the moment we're watching Tinker van der Velde and I think that's Tadis just ahead. Both with some time in hand. Tadis with 4/10, Tinko with 4/10. That would definitely put them upside into the top 3 if they can get that across the line. But obviously, other people are going to evolve. But what a fantastic time from Arthur Patat there in that Ferrari. Obviously, the Ferrari's pretty strong around here because Dura matched it, almost. And Dura's not always up inside that top bit, is he, really?
No, and that would bode well, you'd feel, for Tinko as well in the Ferrari if he can get, because he's a bit out position down in 12th at the moment. So, yeah, strong showing from the Ferraris at the moment.
Got a question
that'll continue.
from Coconut Seb saying, Apex Online Racing, is it me or some guys who have 5 penalty points still doing the quali? I'm hands up, I don't know the 5 penalty point rule. I know they get penalty points. I've got no idea how we count how many they have per person. Yeah, confusing. If that is the case, then yeah, we could have some people who are taking part that have penalty points. Let's have a look, see if I can find.
Oh, big lap from Tinko.
We watched that across the line. Yeah, displaces Luke Whitehead. Fantastic.
He has put himself to the top of the timesheets. There was an improvement from, well, I was going to say Jardy was provisionally P2. He's now P6. As Junkanek has improved to P4. And Ruckus up into P5. So the times are continuing to tumble. There's a lot still in this qualifying, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Same as you. Yeah, I don't know what the penalty points are and if people should or should not be qualifying, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the ruling is on that, but you know, you can leave it with us and we can try and find that out. But what I was going to say, on board with Samir Fosh, he tries to fire it through turn 7 and gets it all wrong, and he's in the kiddie litter, unfortunately. He was doing so well, he had time in hand, and he's in 7th place. Some of the old boys coming up towards the top end of the grid, it seems, this afternoon, because, I mean, it's an older track, this one, isn't it? It's not DLC, it came out with the original game, so I think people have a lot more hours in this one, right?
Yeah, there's that as a factor, and obviously the wet as well. You need experience, and people can be quicker in the wet than they are in the dry, and vice versa. So, yeah, looking like a very interesting grid at the moment. There's still 5 minutes for them to improve.
Oh, Remy Papin getting on too much of curb on the exit of turn 9. I think he lost himself an absolute chunk of time there, unfortunately, so he won't be improving wherever he is. Valentin Barrier is currently improving on his time in P14th. He led us away at the beginning, and he's currently, down 14th place, but he is 4/10 up, so that put him right on pace, really. Jay, keep them entertained for a second. We're with Valentin Barrier in P14th, number 72. I'm just going to ask them about the old penalty bits and pieces. Maybe in the fuss that ensued at the beginning of the race, we forgot about implementing some penalties.
Yeah, maybe it's worth checking, isn't it? But yeah, we're sort of in that reset phase, so everybody's done their opening runs. They've come back, swapped tyres, refueled the fuel tanks, and ready to go again then. In what could be a really interesting last 4 minutes or so. As I'd say any of those top 15 or so could still switch around quite considerably. As I think Barrier's just looking to start a lap here. He's got Mercedes falling out of his way in front. Coming out the final corner, then blasting onto straight to start. What'll be probably his third from last flying lap. See if he can get himself up from P14. He was on a lap, I lie. He's put himself up into P12 with a 151.4, so decent improvement, and he'll have a couple more to go again then.
They are all slowly improving, Jay. And we've got Gert Fischer, who's on a lap at the moment. I think he's going through turn 9. He's currently up 3/10. Get this one across the line. He can put himself inside the top 10. So we'll keep an eye on what he's doing. Podium last week for Gert Fischer in the BMW. Not too sure what the BMW's pace is, but Luke Southall there in P10 in the BMW. So, I mean, there is some speed in the car. It's been not too bad, that BMW all season, has it? It's not been awful, but it's not exactly been quick.
Unfortunately, yeah, since when it was released and it sort of got away from everybody, it wasn't very well boxed. That's sort of been the description of the BMW M4 ever since. It's not too bad. It's not great. It's a very, very neutral car. And just gets you across the line in a good, efficient way as he moves himself up into the top 10. P8 then at 51.2. That's a decent improvement from him. It's only 2.5 tenths to the front of the field as well. That's how close things are around here. For 1 minute 50 lap as well, that's a really small margin. 3 tenths covering the top 10 then. Yeah,
Tadas moves himself up towards the top echelons. Unfortunately, only 200ths away from Luke Whitehead and Tinker van der Velde. So yeah, just missing out. Well, it's only 100th away from Luke Whitehead. Fantastic lap from Tadas in that Porsche. Haven't seen so much of Arthur Patat after that brilliant qualifying lap that he managed to put in. We're on board with Jura Petchenko as he starts some of the last laps before the checkered flag drops down. Jamie Nuttall in this race. Let's have a little look for you. I don't know if he is, I haven't seen him on the list, so I'm going to go with no.
No, I haven't seen him here, unfortunately, this week.
So, but we do have Darren King with us, if that's any consolation for you guys.
Darren's always a consolation for anybody.
Well, you heard it here. Oh dear. Luke Whitehead and Grantis Caracas looks like they've started a lap. There's no improvement at the moment. May have possibly found, the limit of what they can pull out of that Porsche. Tadas and Luke Whitehead getting very, very, very close to the top there and not really improving. So, I mean, chat said it earlier. A 151 is probably what we're looking at the moment. A 150.9 is currently leading the boys.
It is indeed, yeah. I'm watching everybody as they come over the line. They're not really improving much, so it's probably going to take a couple of laps for them to... actually, Gert Fischer has improved up to P6, and just 600ths of a second off Van der Velde's time. It's now less than a 10th, covering the top 7.
Oh, God, it is. Yeah, you're right.
And...
here comes Jura.
Really could be anybody's.
Here comes Jura, I should say. That is pole. Fantastic lap there. Displaces Tinker van der Velde. Jura Petchenko on pole. Well, anything can happen in AOR. It normally does. Jardier was on the bubble there. Tinker van der Velde also looking like he's doing well, but he's only going through turns 1 and 2, so that's probably why. Jardier is in the middle sector, I think, just started sector 2. It's coming through turns 6 and 7, I think. So we could see some improvement from him as the Czech driver leaves turn 8 quite cleanly. Maybe my guess of second place was a little out.
I think we're all going to be out. This is anything to go by. But yeah, they all want to be out there because they're tiny margins. The kind of margins you want to keep pushing right to the end of the lap, because even if you're down at the beginning of it, you don't need to find much over the rest of the lap to improve a huge amount of places here.
Well, just going against tradition, well, it's probably not, probably straight into tradition, talking about something completely different. We've ended our poll, and a majority of you, 40% of you, were right. The largest producer of coffee globally is indeed Brazil, not Colombia, Kenya, or Italy, surprisingly.
No.
There you go. Little fun little coffee anecdote for you.
One of those quiz questions, isn't it?
It is, 100%.
Colombia.
Yes.
And to be honest, I always went Colombia until I heard the pub quiz question.
It is very much a pub quiz question. Tinker van der Velde, I think, if he can hold on all 4 wheels on his wagon, is going to displace Jurapetchenko here as he rounds the final corner and dives towards the line. We have to keep an eye on where Luke Whitehead is because he's not improving, but Tinko is. Oh, he misses out at the end there by such a small margin. Luke Whitehead comes across the line. He misses out as well. We got Jurapetchenko on pole of the whatever this is of Catalonia.
Round number 5 of season 12.
That's the one.
Such a surprise. Is it season 12? I don't know.
It is season 12, yes.
Got me confused now.
Round 5 of season 12.
Fantastic pole position from Jura.
It is.
Beating out Van der Velde. The Ferrari's looking very strong then, locking out the front row. Some standout performances as well. Passett, Gert Fischer in 5th and 6th. That's a really interesting top 10 and not really the order we were expecting.
No.
But for the race, that should give us plenty to talk about, that's for sure.
Definitely. I mean, you were closer than me. You had you had Luke Whitehead. No, you weren't any closer than me because we were all completely wrong. We were completely wrong.
Completely off.
Yeah. Well, we do have some final people coming across the line, but no improvements inside the top 10, unfortunately. But there you can see on the board there that Jurapetchenko, as far as I'm aware, is the first time he's claimed pole with AOR, at least in my tenure. He has never been on the top spot, so congratulations. Like you say, looks like the wet weather brought out some surprising performances. Jurapetchenko was one of those. Yeah. Well, I didn't see that coming.
No, we certainly didn't. Obviously, the Ferrari very strong around here, but you would expect it to be Van der Velde if anybody was to get it. But no, he's really put the cat amongst the prisoners with that, and we'll see how he can go from the front of the grid.
Well, I'll run through said grid whilst we wait. Looking like lots of them have already got their setups dialed because they're jumping into the car already. So looks like we don't have much improvements to make, but maybe just fuel the car properly and get on up. There's no changes to the strategy by the looks of things. It's going to be wet for the next 30 minutes, so you would assume it's probably going to be wet for the whole race. Might not be, but at the moment it is. So
I think this is one of those it's been set to wet races, yeah.
I think so, yeah. So Petchenko starts 28, finished 26th of them, pole positions, 1, podiums 2, 0 wins. So maybe this is his second podium, or this is the first podium, pole position, sorry. Ark, come back to me, let me know. So this might be pole position number 2 for Jurapetchenko. He loves a rejoin, does Jura. Now he's pole position man. So Jura will be joined by Tinko van der Velde on the front row of the grid. Second row will be Luke Whitehead and Tadas Vinicus. I've lost my mouse, so I can't tell you anyone else. There you go, there's Tadas. Third row on the grid will be Arthur Pattett and Gert Fischer. Fourth row will be Jardier and Valentin Barrier. Fifth row will be Samir Foch and Grantis Caricus. Then we got 6th row will be Remy Papin and Angel Inestroza. 7th row will be Alexandra Lee and Nikita Bogradovsky. Then we've got 7th row. No, 8th row of the grid. It will be Vladislav Kolosov and Luke Southall. Then we've got the 9th row of the grid will be Aiding Walsingham and Krzysztof Makowski. We almost got lost there, Jay. 10th row will be it never happened before, I promise. Mas Leto and Mattia De Campo will be on that 10th row. Moving further back outside of the top 20 then, we've got Leon Byrne and Mattia Naldi on the 11th, Darren King and Andrew McWilliam on the 12th, Philip Slavsky and Anton Tarasov will be on the 13th, Vanko Dimitrov and Damia Bonsfields will be one behind them, I think, on the 14th. 15th row will be Jonas Fulks and Julian Naumann and Cody Sherritt bringing up the rear. We don't have a Stukenberger like we have had almost every single race. It doesn't look like Cody Sherritt is here either, because I can't click on him, so we'll say that Cody's here, but I don't think he is. Let's go. We got through.
Here in spirit.
Indeed, yes. Here in spirit, indeed. Okay, right. Completely controversially different top 10. Are we going to have tiers into turns 1, 2 and 3? Or do you think they'll get through okay?
I don't think they'll get through okay. Barcelona's notorious, turn 1 especially, for pinching drivers, and with the limited adhesion of the tarmac this afternoon or this evening, I would say that's even less likely. It's a really narrow run down to turn 1 as well. So yeah, I'd be surprised. Obviously, we hope for them all to have a clean run through, but
you reckon tiers then?
yeah,
You're erring on the side of tiers.
I think there's going to be some tiers somewhere in that top 10. I couldn't tell you where. But
I do like some
I
tiers.
seem to remember, whether it was last year or the year before, was it Whitehead and Boothby?
It wasn't.
Before they even got to turn 1?
No, it was Whitehead and the guy in the black Porsche who's not with us this season. I'll get the name for you because he was doing fantastically well when he hasn't joined us this season. I'll get you that name. Hold that
Trevor
thought.
Wenham.
It was Trevor Wenham, you bastard.
Yeah.
You got there before me.
And I seem to remember, the narrowness of the track and the rapidly closing apex of turn 1 caused quite a lot of issues throughout the field, especially for those two. So, yeah, I don't think the wet weather's going to help it that much more. But, you know, these are some of the most highly skilled sim racers on the planet. So you'd hope they'd be able to make it through cleanly.
Yes, you would hope. That was season 10. That's going back. Going back a few...
2 years ago, yeah.
Well,
Or 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. 1 year ago, in fact. This time last year, that happened because we tend to do 2 seasons a year, I think, question mark. Well, yeah, Barcelona apparently has the mildest turn 1. I've heard. Sources say that nothing ever happens into turn 1 around Barcelona. Yeah, you're right. It is a bit of a pinch moment, isn't it?
Turn 3 do watch for a backwards Roman Grosjean, though.
Oh, yeah, of
Heard
course.
he's still hanging around.
What, still holding on to that loud pedal?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Do you remember that smoke screen that he kicked out? It was unbelievable. And wasn't after that, didn't we have wasn't that the Mercedes into each other incident?
I don't think it's the same race.
Yeah, question mark. And maybe it wasn't.
Grosjean was the year after. There's also the one in Drive to Survive where who's the McLaren technical guy? I can't remember. He was like, I bet Grosjean won't make it round turn 3. It's like, yeah, told you.
Oh,
anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. A good mix of manufacturers as well. Ferraris, Porsches, Hondas. There's a BMW up there as well. The rogue element is Gert Fischer. He said he did well at Bathurst. So a bit of a resurgence this season in that BMW.
Yes.
See, that's the stability of that car will help him in the wet as well, from a race point of view.
We will.
Yeah.
The top Hondas, though, arguably, I was right in one sense because Yardi is leading the field, right? Angel and Estroza down in 11th place.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yes. Valentin Barrier in 8th place. Then you got 2 cars. Then you got Angel and Estroza. Nikita Bogrodowski's fallen off a little bit on pace, hasn't he? As the season's gone on. We haven't seen much of Darren King because he is in a rampaging bull. So I'm assuming he did that for all of the memes.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Many memes.
All the better for it.
Oh dear. Right, well, we are very close to getting round 5 of season 12 off with some style. We've got rain into turns 1 and 2 around Barcelona. They always go absolutely fabulously. I've never heard of any banging of wheels or any kind of tears at all. It's definitely not going to happen this time. I'm sure everyone's going to get round correctly, Jay. I'm going to say at least 3 cars off after 3 turns. How about that?
It's a bold prediction.
It is a bold prediction. Simeon, no information for you in regards to the penalty fiasco. We will come back to it, though, if I get some answers. At the moment, no. We're about to go racing for a few hours or near enough that kind of time. We are green. And Luke Whitehead has had a fantastic start. He's already in the slipstream of those in front. We've got 4 wide behind them as they head on down towards turn 1. No tears yet, Jay, but the tears could ensue quite quickly. And there's tears already. There's bumping. The pole man is in the grass in turn 1. There's lots of tears back there, Jay, and most of them coming from Jura Petrichenko and Tinker van der Velde, then followed by 2 Porsches, has managed to sneak his way up into the lead.
Yeah, contact between the 2 Ferraris in turn 1. I don't really know if there was anybody explicitly at fault there. It's just 2 into 1 didn't really go. Didn't know where the sides of each car was. You're right, Luke Whitehead made a fantastic start, but had nowhere to go with it. And 2 Ferraris side by side. And that's such a shame for Jura. And that pole position now back well into the back of the midfield.
Yeah, 18th place.
Stewards will have to have a look at it anyway. But for the moment, Tinker van der Velde leading away then from Luke Whitehead. Jim Knufus, Gert Fischer up to 4th then in that BMW.
That's a shame for Jura. Yeah, 18th place is where he's found himself after he managed to get off the grass. So more than half of the grid behind where he started the race from. Unfortunately, many tears, and it's coming from the pole man of all people. Mats Leto, going defensive and actually taking Luke Southall through turns 10. Nicely done there, managing to find himself a position into 13th place for him. I'm sure he'll take that with open arms. Well, we're riding on board currently with Luke Whitehead, and he's putting pressure on the reigning champ. 2 champions going toe-to-toe then at the very beginning of this race, Jay. He's going to lose out on this straight, guaranteed. Oh, a little bit sideways action through the final corner. Hold on to it, though. Luke Whitehead wringing the neck of that Porsche to try and get a good exit.
Yeah, you have to do it to get lap time out of it. It doesn't look pretty. It's pretty sweaty from the cockpit, but holds on to it nicely and tracking Tinko nicely at the moment. Little bit, well, there was a little bit of a train forming behind Tadas, but he seems to have got that Porsche under control now. Gert Fischer was looking for a way through. Charlier is all over the back of our Passett P5 and 6, looking to get a move on. He looked so good through practice, maybe a little disappointed with that qualifying. Looking to make up some early places here.
Yep, and you're right. Gert Fischer, 4th place. I think that's 2 places up. Then he's starting 6th. So he's holding on to a good position there. The stableness of that BMW is more stable than my mortgage, I'll put it that way.
I think a Ron Reliant's more stable than most people's mortgages at the moment.
You're probably true. Probably quite true there, in the current state of affairs in the UK.
GT3 car's probably the least of your problems in comparison to that. Darren King was up into P20. He's down to P16 in that Lamborghini, making a cracking start.
He is.
Enjoying the wet conditions. For how long in that car before it bites him, I don't know, but doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, we've jumped on board with him briefly to see how he's getting on in that pack.
It's a lot of early stops as well.
Yeah, I noticed that. Samir Foch in. Who else have we got? Luke Southall came in, yeah. Mikowski also came in. Obviously, Jura, no surprises there. He came in, and he's out as well. So we've had, 4 stoppers. Yeah,
it's not such a factor, or not such an issue stopping that early when it's wet. You're not going to get such as high a degradation on the wet tyres as you are on the dry tyres stopping that early. So that might well work out with them with some clean out. We'll wait and see. A long way to go before that starts to pay any dividends, though.
Just going down the list here, what happened with Grantis Karakis? Because he's in 9th place. Did he start that far down? That seems like a little bit of a drop, does it not?
He was the lower end of the top 10,
Okay.
I don't know if he was that low though, especially the jurors out of that top 10. So maybe he had to take avoiding action.
Yeah, it seems like quite a bit of a... I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't quite see what happened with him. Oh, I think we got some changes further down. It looks like there were some people moving around. Leon Burnt is currently under pressure from Darren King in that the rampaging bull. Maybe he's doing quite well in the wet. Who knows? Maybe it's a dark horse.
Maybe this is the race he was waiting for. So it seems like it at the moment.
I know.
Climbing it all over the back of Leon Burnt.
People who are suffering a little bit. Looks like it's the Visceral Esports boys. Vanko Dimitrov in P19. He's got Tarasov behind him, looking menacing, and he's stuck behind Fulks. So we'll have to keep an idea if he can hold on to the back of Jonas, because at the moment Anton wants past. Maybe it's struggling in the wet, that Mercedes. I think we found a Mercedes track that's not working so far this season.
Well, if there's a track condition that AMG would historically struggle, it's when the car wants to go sideways when it's wet.
Mini Simeon
Looks great. Drifting, but...
Well, yeah, so it sounds lovely too. I was going to say, Mini Simeon did keep an eye on what happened with Grantis. He started 6th, and he's down to 9th, so there you go.
There you go, yes, you're right. He did lose out a couple of positions.
And Dimitrov's in, by the way. It's an early pit.
So another one looking to make an early stop. To say, we might see a bit more of this. Get that stop out of the way, get out of the traffic, and the tyre wear shouldn't be as much of an issue. So, yeah, it might work out for them.
So,
especially with those scraps that were developing in the midfield that will cost you a lot of time.
We're on board at the moment with Jardier. He's P6. He's managing to hold on to the back of Arthur Patter, who did so well in qualifying. He's the closest, I think, inside the top 10, the closest battle at least. But Gert Fischer possibly holding up Arthur slightly. So we might see some jiggery-pokery at the beginning part of this race. The gap between Luke Whitehead and Tinko is about 7 tenths. As Arthur Patter goes wide through 7 and 8. Jardier claims a scalp. I think he's managed to hold on to that. He goes somewhat conservative through 9, and that does expose a little bit of pace on the exit of the corner, and Valentin Barrier is very close, but I think Jardier's managed to hold on to that. But they're still side by side. Barrier's almost up the inside as well. Barrier is up the inside, Jay, but I don't think he's going to have enough space.
So I think he gave Jardier a little nudge there. He was so late on the brakes, just helping his fellow Honda through the position. But yeah, unfortunately off Patter, he just let off the brakes again, because he thought Jardier was going down the inside of him, and that pushed him wide up the hill. And yeah, long way round. Oh, there's contact on the back of Arthur Patter. That's Remy Papin that's made contact with him. He's got Grant Crackers all over the back of him. Lots of little nudges. Nothing that's going to cause any issues, but you'll just have to be careful.
Talking of little nudges, something's happened to Tinko. He was a good 7-8 tenths or so away from Luke Whitehead. That gap has now gone down to 2, and Tadas has managed to pull up to them as well. So Tinker Van der Velde suffering. That's how you say his name, really, in Dutch. Tinker Van der Velde is struggling slightly. Gloss over that. He's struggling slightly by the looks of things. I don't know what for.
Yeah, he lost half a second last lap around. So whether that's a mistake somewhere or a little car twitch, you're right. That's definitely brought front four a lot closer together again.
We're on board with Luke Whitehead, who smells blood.
Yeah, he does, but you know, we've seen him this season. He's been a little bit more patient than we're used to from him. He's happy to sit behind people and feel it out, wait for the opportunity. Which he would have seen the mistake that Tinko made the last lap around, so he'll know where he's struggling.
You talked about jiggery-pokery and now you can't speak. I know, right? I was going to say Luke Whitehead might have fired some of his coach builders, you know. He thinks, I can't afford these bills. Can't afford to keep the old panel beaters in a job, so he's decided to go easy on the side-by-side. I'm not too sure that's the case. Luke Whitehead, I think if he gets a chance, he'll sniff it straight away, and he'll be up the inside quicker than you can say loosey-goosey.
Oh, yeah, of course he will. But when you've got 50 minutes left in a race, you can afford to be a little bit patient, look for the opportunity, tries a couple of lines through the chicane. I mean, get much closer to the back of that Ferrari without making contact. Has to back off a little bit, unfortunately.
I'm going defensive.
Yeah, weaving around Tinko to try and break that slipstream. Maybe just kick up a bit of extra spray as well. The Porsche just doesn't have that straight line speed. He will be better under the brakes into turn 1 though. Cuts a little bit further underneath to try and cut back earlier for the second part. But Van der Velde holding on nicely at the moment in that Ferrari.
Definitely. Chat picking up the door banging is probably not going to work in this economy. You're quite right. They probably can't afford to keep putting those fiberglass panels through the heat cycle that's required to get them on the car.
Pixels be expensive.
They'd be expensive. True. Those frames, bruh, they don't pay for themselves.
They certainly don't.
No, they definitely don't. Those bloody miners. Anyway, Luke Whitehead has fallen back slightly. He's now 4/10 off. He was threatening with 2. Someone who is threatening, let's go further back down the grid and watch Jardier as he gets quite close to the rear of Patet. Has Patet got past? Because didn't they flippy round earlier?
Yeah, they flippy backs. Yeah, Valentine Barry is the one that's striking out front at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
He gave Jardier the little nudge through at the hairpin they're coming up to now. So yeah, they've swapped back the other way round. Off Patet back up into P6. Valentine Barrier released in that Honda and actually has some decent pace. He's already pulled a second on Arthur Patet, so we'll see if he can start to threaten the top 4 as they start fighting in amongst themselves as well.
Yeah, well, if he continues that pace, he definitely will do. Let's have a look at some of the figures. So Valentine Barrier, his last was a 152.5.
It's a 53.9 for Jardier, so that's where the problem is. He's lost almost a second on that last lap, so something's happened somewhere there.
Gert Fischer doing 151.9s, which is fantastic. So no wonder he's feeling confident in that car. He's going to be coming up to the back of Tadis quite soon, I think, as well. So that's one to watch. Gert Fischer in the stable economy BMW might be threatening the Porsche of Tadis Jutmanicus. He's obviously quite quick down the straights.
Yeah, that certainly compared to the Porsche, that would likely be the case, but I think you're right. It's just stability and the confidence that BMW is probably giving him at the moment. Nobody else feeling it in the BMW. He's the only one in sight at the moment, the top 20 at least, but he's making use of it. And you're right, he's definitely closing in on Tadis. Both of them push a little wide. Maybe that is the line through there to try and find a little grip around the outside of the corner. Karting lines, unfortunately, not a thing in sim racing yet in the wet weather, but they're hunting out there anyway. That's what I want to see from wet weather in sims.
Oh, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Real difference in grip depending on where the rubber's been laid down.
That must be quite hard to integrate into a track, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But who? Go on.
Is everything okay for you?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm
Okay.
I'm watching.
No, I had cars flying off the track.
Oh,
so
okay. I thought because
that's fine.
I was quiet. No, for once I'd shut up, and I was watching this interesting battle that's going on between Jutmanicus and Gert Fischer. We're watching from the fail cam, as we like to call it, and looks like Tadis had actually found a little bit of pace in the final end of that lap. So do we have what looked like some Narnia type moments from your end?
Yeah, both Tadis and Gert Fischer were off into Narnia for me, but they're back now.
No such luck for me.
Good.
We're all fine. Everything's fine. Luke Whitehead has held on to that 4/10. There was a fleeting moment of silence. There was an interesting moment of silence. I was listening. I was interested in what was going on. What was happening in the battle ahead? We've got 4/10 between Luke Whitehead and Tinker van der Velde. That battle is probably going to stay somewhat close, I think, for a little while. So eyes peeled for what happens with those boys. Let's go to P9 currently, where Grantis Caracas, the other Veloce boy, is getting quite close to the back of the Frenchman, Remy Papin. So we've got Lithuania versus France here, and it's also Germany versus Japan. The old Axis powers back at it again.
God's sake. It's been good run, guys. We'll let someone else take it from it. No, Yeah, I've been watching Grant a few times over the last few laps. He's struggling with a similar issue in that Porsche. It's the straight line speed. He's quicker almost everywhere else than Remy Papin ahead of him. And then as soon as he gets that main straight, he's instantly dropping 2 or 3 tenths. So that's where he's struggling. So he's going to have to do it, as we've said often with the Porsches this season, somewhere unconventional. Or just wait for the opportunity, because there's been plenty of incidents in this little group so far over the last 4 or 5 laps. Barrier, I don't know if he's had a little mistake on this lap. Off Patit is now within almost within half a second again. So this quintet, isn't it? These 5 closing back up again. And Nikita's actually rapidly closing on the back of Caracas as well, to make this 6. So yeah, you see here onto the main straight, and he's just going to lose that Honda all the way down the main straight. Just doesn't have the straight line speed to deal with it. That's why he'll be so frustrated at the moment, because he's got not 1 but 2 but 3 Hondas in the 4-car train ahead of him, and he'll be thinking, how on earth am I going to get through this?
Those Hondas be fast, bro.
They do.
They do be fast. Well, we're on board with him, at least. We're going to see what he can do. See if he can make any inroads. The thing is, the gap is made so big down that straight that he's got to work the whole lap to get up into that area where we can attack. But we do have a little bit of a flash of sunlight in the dark grey skies of Catalonia, because Remy Papin's on the back of Jardier, and we could see some fisticuffs, which could let Grantis Caracas wheedle his way through on his way up towards the top 5. I don't think it will happen, but he can always hope. Fingers crossed one of them flies off into the kiddie litter on the side, but no one does. I can't remember last time we saw some wheel-to-wheel action with Remy Papin. He's a Season 2 veteran, promoted up into Tier 1 2 seasons ago. He's been somewhat midfield, but it's probably one of the highest positions he's been in so far this season, I reckon. Got a lovely livery we can actually see at the moment as well.
I was going to say, it's the livery that I'm sure we've commentated on before, because it is a lovely livery. But yeah, I have to see, there's a little gap developing ahead of Jardier as well, which will help Remy coming onto the main straight. Jardier won't be picking up too much slipstream, where he's doing his best on the brakes through the late braking chicane. He's actually going to peel off into the pit lane then, to try something different on strategy, Jardier then. So 43 minutes into the race, he decides he wants to take his mandatory stop.
That could be good, actually.
It could work out for him, yeah, absolutely. And say, I'm not expecting too much drop off from the tyres either, so he should be able to get straight back onto pace. And if he thinks he's got a bit more, he can use it to try and undercut, well, at least stay nicely ahead of Papin and Grantis. But he'll have half a hope of leapfrogging ahead of Off Patit and Valentin Barrier as well then. Front 4 have sort of developed into 2 packs of 2 then.
They have.
As Gert Fischer hustling Tadas has allowed the front 2 to get away by 2.5 seconds. As Luke Whitehead continues to track Van der Velde.
6 tenths, I think, the gap with Tinker Van der Velde and Luke Whitehead. It's kind of been ebbing and flowing between 6 and 4, then 5 and so, but hasn't really gained much traction away from there. It's still within a second. I think anytime you've
This is interesting.
Yes, all gone.
So one of the first pitters was Samir Foch.
Yes.
And he's just cleared Jardier.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that stopping very early has really worked out for him. I don't know, Samir was somewhere around the top 10.
He qualified okay, didn't he?
Just outside it, but that has worked out really well for him, because he's a good 2 or 3 seconds clear of Jardier. So that's going to jump him nicely into that battle for the top 5 or 6.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Southall, crucially, Jardier has managed to jump him, because he's also pitted as well. So yeah, I think the early pit is massive. Look who's decided to bring on the early pit as well. Luke Whitehead, current P2 man, has also decided to pull the trigger on that. Well, we'll see the gap now when Luke Whitehead comes out, how far or how close Samir Foch is to that. I think it'll be a good few seconds, but I think it'll give us a real idea of how much that's worth on the undercut. Obviously, Samir Foch is going to be going somewhat backwards towards the end of this race, but yeah. Looks like the old undercut be strong here today.
Well, it is, yeah. And you would take the track position in these track conditions.
You would?
Every day of the week, especially from where he was. Yeah, I don't think it'll be interesting to see the gap to Luke, but yeah, I mean, who's really under threat is the battle of Patit, Papin, and Grantus. Well, you've got to say that Samir should already be ahead of Papin and Caracas.
Yeah.
And then off Patit under threat as well. So, yeah, we'll see if this works for Luke Whitehead. Try and get the undercut on Tinko. It's normally been Tinko that's done it to him so far this season, so he's trying it the other way around. You know what, Samir's not far off him.
That's what I mean. I thought he's going to be really close, sorry. Right, let's watch. Whereabouts is he?
I mean, Luke's through turn 1, Samir just coming into turn 1 now, so it's a good 3 or 4 seconds, but...
Still.
That's worked out brilliantly for Samir Fosh. Let's hope he can hold on to it. Currently in the high 51s as well. He's got the lap time to go with it.
Oh, he's a dark horse, definitely. We'll keep an eye on his pace as the race goes on. I
think he's going to be third.
Quite possibly. Quite possibly.
Gert Fischer and Tadas are. I mean, Valentin Barry's nearly on the back of them. They're fighting so much.
Tinko pitted. Tinko did not want anything of that race. He did not want to be undercut at all. He's not taking any risks whatsoever, and he's in.
He is, yeah. Is one lap enough for Luke Whitehead to get that advantage, though?
Yes.
Gap was 5 or 6 tenths of a second.
Well, let's stay with him.
Lap going.
Let's stay with him. Let's see how or at least we've missed the beginning part of the lap, so we'll stay on board with him as he comes into the final sector. He's got a lot to do. It's got to be a fantastic outlap if he wants to hold on and possibly even take the position. How far back is Foch? 4 seconds. Oh, I don't know. I think Foch might be a threat for Gert Fischer and co, because they were fighting, weren't they, losing time.
I mean,
and Tadas.
I think he might be P3, maybe.
We haven't
Depends
pitted
how
yet.
early the other guys get in.
Well, here we go. Here we go indeed. Tinko van der Velde still in his pit box, and Luke Whitehead has just rounded the last corner, Jay.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Pit limiter release for Tinko van der Velde onto the power. Luke Whitehead already at full speed coming down the main straight. I think he's going to comfortably do it, you know. He's into turn 1 now. You have to take the compromise line from the pit exit, which will slow him a little bit up the hill. But it's going to be status quo 1 and 2. Tinko van der Velde deciding to pull the car in straight away and retaining his lead for now then.
Well, maybe we didn't see that Luke Whitehead just had a bit of a disaster when it came to the pit. You never know. He might have just had a disaster on his outlap. We didn't quite see the first couple of sectors, so yeah. The tyre delta's not going to be too bad in these wet conditions. The warm-up, you know, it should be somewhat similar, like you said earlier, so...
Yeah, they normally fire up pretty well, the wet tyres, if you got the pressures right, so...
Right,
yeah,
we're talking about those names up ahead, Jay. Sorry to interrupt you. Gert Fischer and Valentin Barrier have all come in. Arthur Patter also coming in. So, yeah, Gert Fischer got bored at the back of Tadas. Tadas now leading.
Well, this is the crucial one, then, for the undercutter of the day.
Yes.
Also, this will obviously be interesting to see. So, Jardier was behind Barrier and Fischer, but he was ahead of... No, he was behind Patter as well, wasn't he? Because he was just ahead of Remy Papin. So, see if Jardier can clear any of these 3 as well.
I think he'll pass them quite comfortably, you know. Whereabouts is he?
Well, he's in the mid 51s. He's just coming into the final few corners now. So the lap time is there, definitely. He's been doing it from that perspective.
He has been catching Foch. Where's Southall? It's got 2 seconds on Southall since he pitted. Have the boys left? I think they have.
They have, so Samir Foch is at full pace. He's looking at the back of Valentin Barrier into turn 1. He's not quite going to get there, though. That's not... Works out well for Jardier. Actually, no, he's cleared off Patit just into turn 1. Samir Foch is all over the back of Valentin Barrier and will want to do it while his competitors' tyres are warming up then.
We've got to say the undercut award's got to go to Samir, isn't it?
It's just from left field as well. I'm pretty sure he pitted lap 2. Lap 2 or 3. He's just gone about his business.
Because that's P5 now,
clean
isn't
air.
it, I think, for Samir, when all is
Barrier
done.
was P5, so yeah, 6th maybe. Because we obviously still got from that lead group, Grantus and Nikita are both in the pit lane at the moment, and then carrying on is Remy Papin and Tadas.
I think Samir will keep 5th. I think he'll hold on to 5th. We got Tinko in leading, Luke in 2nd, Gert in 3rd, Barrier in 4th, Samir in 5th, Shardia in 6th.
Tadas was with Fisher.
Yeah, but we'll see.
So,
Where is Tadas at the moment?
I mean Tadas has carried on for another lap.
Has he?
So Grantus is in this lap along with Nikita. They were pretty much nose to tail into pit lane. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out in respect to probably Jardier and Off Patit are the two they're fighting with. As they've been dropped from the jacks at the moment then, and the battle of Barrier Foch, Jardier and Off Patit coming out the final corner down the main straight. Grantus is off the pit limit.
This is Gert Fischer into 3rd place, by the way. Just want to point that out.
If he can stay ahead of Tadas after he pits. But yes, he's having a cracking race in that BMW at the moment. Off Patit just clears Grantus Crux into turn 1 then.
He does, you're right. So, who just came out then? Was it Grantus Crackers?
Nikita and Crackers.
Ah, okay. So they should be fast towards the end. I mean, that's a normal pit stop, isn't it? 33 minutes. All the other boys pulled it somewhat earlier.
Yes.
Slightly earlier.
Yes, it's anywhere from 35 to 25 you're going to be is a fairly standard pit window, but I say with the wet weather I think it allows for a bit of difference in the strategy, and that's what we've seen so far.
We've definitely seen it with Samir, haven't we? So, yeah.
Crikey, we have.
Yeah, it depends on... Well, I think because he had so much clear air, you know, he had no one around him. He could just quali pace. He had no... and hopefully...
Do not count out, by the way, for a top 10, Petruchenko.
Do you reckon?
He's the other one that
who came in
at the beginning.
Yeah, you're right.
He's been knocking in the mid-51s, and he's almost arrived on the back of that top 10 battle. So one to keep an eye on for the second half of the race, that's for sure.
That is literally the visual representation of Never Give Up. Bless him.
Well, exactly.
So
is essentially much damage on the car, so, you know.
Mini Simeon said
he
said that Samir went from 20th to 6th, which is fantastic.
He is genius. Like, it's worked so well for him. Tadas is in then, so where will he be in comparison to Gert Fischer? The answer is a long way behind. Valentin Barrier clears him, Samir Foch clears him. So those extra couple of laps from Tadas has dropped him actually just behind Jardier. So that's dropped him from P3 to I think will be provisionally P6 or 7.
Yeah.
P7, I think.
He's going to come under threat as well, I think, from Patat if he's not back out on pace instantly. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Well, looks like after Tinker van der Velde came out of the pit, it's completely deflated Luke Whitehead, because either Luke Whitehead has had a problem with his tyres, but he has definitely not been able to switch on that car in the second part of this race, because he's dropped 2.5 seconds from the back, or at least 2 seconds from the back of Tinker van der Velde.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's definitely struggling, or had an incident somewhere.
Yes, that might be why.
Lap times last time around were a 10th in Van der Velde's favour. But yeah, no, not doing it for the rip around here at the moment. He doesn't exactly need the win, but I'm sure he will be pushing as hard as he can to get it. It's going to be that battle, I think, from Samir Foch backwards that's going to be really spicy all the way back to Jure Petruchenko in the second half of this race, because they're already converging on each other's gearboxes. We could have a train of a good old AOR train of about 10 cars going into the final half an hour.
Well, we are watching the top end of that train at the moment, with Jardier looking to the outside of Samir Foch, trying a little bit Alonso-esque cutback, didn't really work. Smosh Samir Fosh. Smosh.
It's an abbreviation.
Smosh. How long can Smosh hold on? That's the main question. How long until those tyres scream and Smosh has to let Jardier through?
I don't think they're going to scream enough. They'll lose pace towards the end. If it was as we think, only about 5 minutes into the race, then I'd probably expect about 5 minutes time for there to start being a big delta. But again, with the wet tyres, I don't know that we'll see that as aggressively. And it's the old trick, isn't it? If you've got track position, the longer you can keep the car behind, the more of that freshness of the tyre and the grip that they'll take out of them, and it will start to equalise again. So get your elbows out and see. It's also the fact that Jardier is going to start coming under pressure from behind as well. That's what he'll be thinking. We can keep him there for a bit, and then he'll be preoccupied with defence rather than attack.
We've got an interesting little race developing back for P14. It's two BMWs of Luke Southall and Krzysztof Makowski on the back of Nikita. How long can Nikita hold on to that position? You've got two rampaging BMW pigs behind you. That must be quite scary.
That's like the angry Jura Petchenko on the back of the
Yes! Jura has actually found some pace, hasn't he? Joined them. Yeah, he's right up there. Funny enough, is Naumann, is he leading? No, he's not. Is he in the pit? Where is he? P4. He's still out there. Julian in the Ranwell Esports. He's the only. Oh, no, there's a couple that haven't pitted. Leon Burnt, Remy Papin.
Remy Papin. He's now in the pit lane.
Yeah, we've got Leon.
I think he's going to come out the back of this pack, I feel.
Oh, poor Remy. There he goes. He's leaving now. I don't think he's going to do too well out of that. Grantis Caracas going. No, that was Luke Whitehead going through. There you go. So there goes Gert Fischer and co.
He's going to come straight into the middle of that fight you were just talking about.
Yeah, he is.
Nikita backwards.
Oh, I don't know. He might just sneak past Grantis Caracas.
Right.
Oh, he's not going to get it stopped. He did. Just about. He goes toe-to-toe with the Lithuanian and holds on. I thought we were going to see some crazy stuff then.
He was a bit preoccupied about breaking one. He didn't see the Ferrari ahead of him, but that's kind of worked out all right for him. He's lost the track position because he was just behind Jardier.
Yeah.
But he's got the freshest tyres of the lot.
He does.
He's right on the gearbox of Grantis, so go have some fun, lad.
Yeah, he's got yardstick.
Because you're about to. It is going to be about a 10-car train in a minute, which I am looking forward to greatly.
Yeah, well, Samir's going to cause it, isn't he? He's going to really push them all up. But saying that, there's a nice little gap between. Oh, who's that off onto the gravel? Oh, Grantis Caracas almost collects him. It's Patat again through turns 8, I think, causing issues. Remy Papin gives him a nice little knock into the side of turn 9. He's not happy, is he, Arthur Patat? Flashes his lights in dismay, but I mean, he did that to yourself, buddy. Obviously, there's his Achilles heel. Turn 7 and turn 8. Arthur Patak cannot deal with it. Either that or the car is struggling through there.
Yeah, it's just getting out onto the outside there where it's so tricky. You have to get on the power as early as possible, but if the car's not settled, you will lose time up the hill, and that's what he's done a couple of times now, as you say. And, I don't think there's anything untoward from Remy Papin on the way through there. He's perfectly entitled to find his way up the inside.
Little dink.
It's a very fast right-hander, so it's difficult. So Remy Papin loses the back end onto the main straight. Those curves will still be fairly deadly, as he found out there, almost to his detriment.
All right, everyone's in now, Jake. Leon Burnt's in, it's coming out. Folks is in, Naumann's in too. So we've got a rearrange of the guard, which I think we'll see. There we go. Tinker van der Velde taking control of the race. Luke Whitehead with a purple in second. And then, surprise, surprise, Gert Fischer, last time out, got himself a podium. I won't give him the curse, but he's in a good place, let's put it that way. Valentin Barrier in 4th, Samir Foch in 5th. I told you he'd be in 5th. The undercut of a lifetime, but he does have Jardier right behind him and all up in his veg, as some like to say. Tadej Jovanickas just behind, but not quite threatening. That's kind of where he's been, really, the whole season, isn't he? And then Grantis Caracas in 8th place, Remy Papin 9th, and Patat, who loves turn 7 and 8, in 10th place currently.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he can hold on. Tadas, I would imagine he's going to close up on these two, though. He did pick quite a bit later. And the longer Jardier is held there by Samir, the more opportunity he's got to close it in. Cracks goes very wide in the background there. Just about stays ahead of Remy Papin.
Just willing the people on behind him, really, Jay.
Yeah, pretty much. Come on, I need some support here, guys. I was hoping Petchenko would just turn up and start dispatching BMWs, but he's not managed it just yet. He is on the back of them at the moment.
He is but a mere mortal, Jay. What do you expect? He's managed to get himself back up into 14th place. So
this might be the moment for Jardier.
You're right, yeah. Guide us through.
He's pulling out the slipstream into turn 1. Later on the brakes, just tries to get it stopped. The curb spits him out back onto the left-hand side. 2 bits of contact with Samir Foch. And Samir Foch, after all that undercut work, it's his old buddy Jardier that's put him off into a barrier. And that puts him to the back of that group, just behind Petchenko. What a shame. So, mate, it looked like Jardier got the braking done, then had to take the curb, and then the curb, being wet, just sort of kicks the car out a little bit towards the left. I mean, Samir Foch really had anywhere to go there. Didn't do anything wrong in my mind.
No, I don't think he did. We're just watching the replay. Unfortunately, he got a little unsettled after turn 1, and then he had nowhere to go apart from on the racing line. If he jumped over the, the sausage humps and missed the corner, he might have possibly avoided that second contact, because it was only going to happen, wasn't it? Really, when you've had a compromised line into turn 1, and he's suffering now. Actually, saying that he's losing positions left, right. Well, he's losing pace left, right, and centre, and he's going to come under real threat from Latho and Instroza soon, I think, because he's lost a couple of knocks of downforce on that car. But yeah, unfortunate for Samir, the masterful undercut of the evening, and he's going to have to settle, I think, for where he is. Talking of not settling, though, Jay, we're moving on quickly. Luke Whitehead, I think, is starting to push on to the back of Tinker van der Velde. Could it have been possibly he sat back a little bit, cooled down those tyres, got the pressures under control, got a bit of life, and then thought, right, when it gets to 20 minutes, I'm just going to start turning the wick up a little?
Certainly what it looks like, because he does the fastest lap of the race with 51.0, 4/10 of a second quicker than Van der Velde last time round. So maybe he just wanted to look after it. I do seem to remember some comments about the Porsche and their tyres. Whether it was from Luke, I can't remember, earlier in the season. So maybe, yeah, maybe he did just want to look after them. And that extra tread, especially with the wet conditions, starting to bring him lap time. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and see if he continues to bring it down.
Yeah, I think in the right hands, the Ferrari tends to be good here. You know, it's got everything it needs. You know, it's got reasonable, medium corner speed. It's got obviously the good speed down the straights. I think it just trumps that Porsche almost everywhere. You can see from the likes of, your casual aliens with Tadej Stupmanicus, Grantis Caracas, and then your full-on out there, otherly spirit aliens like Luke Whitehead struggling behind Tinker van der Velde, but a good couple of positions around his competition. So, yeah, I think he's outperforming the car, Jay, is what I'm trying to say, but giving you a measurement of alienism.
Yeah, I feel he does that any car he gets into. But yeah, absolutely, maybe not a condition and a track suited to it, but he's continuing that march. A couple of attempts on this lap, so yeah, we'll see. But Tinko might just have it all under control.
Yeah, you never know. Could just be a little I'm going to give you a breather kind of scenario. We are watching the battle for third at the moment because it's kind of where we are. I don't think there's any closer battles. There might be a few back there. Petchenko on the back.
7th back to 14th is pretty spicy at the moment.
Okay.
Nothing side by side at the moment.
we can view it, of course. I was waiting for Petchenko to get a little bit closer to Mikowski, but he's
close battle. The last lap round was actually Nikita versus Arthur Patit, but that's sort of strung back out again. Didn't say to jump back down, but they got pretty close on that last lap.
I wonder how long Durapetchenko's tyres can hold on, because he pitted like lap 2 or 3, didn't he, as well? So he's probably got to be screaming in rubber at some point.
You'd think, but you never know.
20 minutes to go and he's not screaming yet.
I was going to say, the wet tyres should easily do more than a stint. So I shouldn't think it's as much of an issue, but compared to the competition, it will be lap time, definitely.
I guess it all mean, you know, did you get your pressures right? You know, did you manage to keep them in a window where they can be perfect for the longest period of time? That's the main thing. I guess some of these people that haven't fought for a long time as well, who've just been kind of sitting there pounding in laps, you know, the likes of Tadeusz Jutvinicius, who's now actually coming up to the back of Jardier. He's not really been a threat to anyone as such, has he, Tadeusz? But he's always been there, and now he's trying to hunt down a 5th place. Jardier's always been fighting with someone, or at least, you know, trying to hunt someone down. But he's lost pace, I think, since he got past Samir. It doesn't look like he's marching off like Valentin Barrier did.
No, absolutely. He's not been as quick in race pace as he was in quali. But Barrier's just sort of come alive, I think, because he can sniff that podium as well. When you know you've got that position up for grabs and you're on the gearbox of the car, it just gives you that extra couple of tenths of a second. Now Jardier with a nice clean track ahead of him, sometimes that's not the best thing. Because you suddenly lose that little extra bit of time you find in competition following somebody. But he's still holding on to a nice 5th place at the moment. Oh, Grantis goes very wide in turn 1, nearly loses the back end of that Porsche.
He's still got Remy Papin behind him, isn't he? Still
He's
there.
got him a lot closer for comfort now. All over the back of him. Yeah, Remy Papin, the precious size of anybody of this little group. So see if he can make any use of him and dispatch a couple of Porsches.
He should have him on the straights, you would think. I think that's why Jutvinicius might be struggling to get past Jardier, because yes, he's quicker in the twisties, but the straights come along and he struggles. However, flip side to this, Remy Papin is much quicker in that straight. Might be able to make a move on Grantis, especially if Grantis makes mistakes like he did last time around. And then we got left then, Jay. 18 minutes on the clock so far. We've not had the most action-packed race around Barcelona, but we've had a few incidences, haven't we? Had some different pit stop bits and pieces going on, but it's not been pedal to the metal drama as we've seen sometimes around Catalonia, eh?
No, it's been a little bit more strategical.
Yes.
And had to wait for the little bursts of action here and there, but that's because everyone's driving so well.
I know.
To be honest.
Damn them.
In these tricky conditions, I know. How dare they be that good? It's not what I signed up for at all. But no, there's still plenty that can still happen. Especially from that battle sort of 5th backwards. You could see that turn into action very quickly if certain cars get out of shape and they start bunching up even more. At the moment, they're all just sort of standing in line and waiting for the mistakes from their competitors rather than forcing the issue at the moment.
I wonder what pace Durapetchenko could have pulled out if he didn't have that incident into turn 1. I wonder. Because he's been very good, isn't he, really? He's held onto the back of some of these cars. He's not been lapping as fast as the top guys. Best time for Tinko was a 151.1, sorry. Dura was a 151.3. So he's got pace there. He's got top 5 pace, definitely.
I'd also say that Luke Whitehead and Tinko's time have been done because Van Velde's has come down 2 temps since we last talked about it in response to the lap times Luke's been putting in. So yeah, I would say they were pretty much the same pace as Jura, who's now stuck in traffic. So this is sort of the quickest part of the race for them, and he's not had a chance to put a clean lap in. So yeah, he definitely would have been up there, I feel.
It's a shame.
It's a shame, yeah, exactly. The good news for all who's gone wide there is Arthur Pattett has gone wide into the hairpin. That's allowed Nikita through up into 9th place.
He's had an absolute mare, isn't he, today?
I mean, he's had a fairly good race by his standards, but what could have it have been? I think.
Yeah.
is the question.
Oh, side by side. I think Southall, that is behind. Nikita, is it? No, Southall and Mikowski. Durapetchenko for company. So we might see old Durapetchenko making some moves yet again. It's not over yet for the Whipperman boy.
No, absolutely not. He kind of needs the two BMWs to fight. He's been stuck behind them for so long. I think better of it into turn one. It was a small little sniff of a look from Mikowski, but thought better of it. Strategical's a word, isn't it?
Yeah. Strategical.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to say it's a word.
I came home for a strategical spaghetti bolognese.
Yes.
That works, doesn't it?
It does, and it's kind of something I can imagine you would do. We were all out for dinner, and I just came home for a strategical spaghetti bolognese, so I saw the prices.
Why not? Durapetchenko is sniffing for the overtake there. Did have a go.
He did.
He's
He
threatening.
needs to keep it neat and tidy. The best opportunity is going to be down into the hairpin. We'll see how good the Ferrari is through the high-speed right-hander. Gets on the power as early as he could. You can see him feathering the throttle there, trying to get on the power a little bit early. BMW's got good straight-line speed, though. He's going to be a bit too far back, you
He's
feel.
going for it.
Well, he's feeling it. He's putting his car there, hoping he's going to distract him, but I don't think he ever really went for it there. Jardiet's got a 5-second penalty.
Oh, 10-second
10
penalty.
second. I think that will be for the incident with Samir, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was a little bit more rubbing, by the way, going on between Petchenko and Mikowski, exiting turn 10, but it's all
Look
good
who's on
and
the
fair.
back of this pack, by the way.
No, don't even say it.
Not going to give up. It's good news for those that have had tyres on until the first lap. But...
Yes. Right. So Jardy...
Sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. Jardy's got the penalty for the little incident with Samir, and we're watching that man come back at the back of Durapetchenko. Oh, I do feel for Samir because he did so good getting himself into that, but he was in 5th on merit, and technically he would be above Jardier now because of the penalty. So yeah.
No, that's Murphy's law, isn't it?
Well,
You
yeah, I
wouldn't
know.
have a penalty if
Yeah,
yeah.
But still.
Sorry, just had to get it in.
No, what I mean, he's above Jardier now. Now he is. Jardier will fall back further.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he'll definitely be in 13th if he can get himself past Petchenko Mikowski, which is possible. You never know. At least Duro's got the same tyre life on at the moment as he does, so it's all fair.
It's unfair, though.
It's all fine. Where's Luke then? 1.7 behind
I was
Jacob
just having a look
Annabelle.
at that. He's dropped back a couple of attempts on that last lap, so that little attack has been weathered, I feel, from Tinko.
Oh dear.
He did give it a good go, you're right. Just put the feelers out, the frighteners on, and Tinko responded.
Oh, look, Wyatt's round! He's round! Oh no, I think that car is just such a handful. He drops the car in turn 14 and just does a small half pirouette. I think that has just closed out any chance of an attack from the Ripper himself. Unfortunately, the Veloci man is going to have to settle for second place this afternoon as the gap ekes out past 5 seconds. Shame.
It is. It shows how hard he was pushing, trying to close up that gap. But yeah, that'll put the breakers on any kind of challenge. Not that he needs to win, but it's a shame. Little chink in the armour, though.
Yeah.
Going into the final couple of rounds.
Yeah.
To show that Porsche is a complete handful, you're right, in the rain.
I think...
It's at the slowest part of the track as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's probably
Chicane.
where it came from, right? Just the low downforce kind of slow corner. And it just... lot of torque. Rear engine car. Off it goes. It must be damn hard in the wet. I'm not going to lie. It must be another version of hard. But he's got to be careful. He's got to get it back under control and not let it ruffle the feathers, because he does have Fisher and Barrier just behind that are looking, you know, somewhat strong pace. Not really been matching pace of the guys in front. They've kind of been around 51.4. Yeah, I know what you mean. So the last time around, Luke, because of the spin, was a 54. We'll see if he's managed to get that back to low 51s. We'll see. We'll see. See if he can do it this time around. So 10 to go. Have we got any movement with that train of cars? We've still got Durapetchenko, Samir Foch, and Mikowski all very close to each other. We might hop back down, excuse me, to 12th place. See if there is any movement. It looks like Mikowski's got onto the back of Southall and all of this, and Samir Foch is still there. They're still battling like gladiators to try and get past.
Yep, absolutely. And, as he loses the back end,
Samir's off.
Limit of grip and adhesion there. He's got away with that a little bit.
Yeah, he took
by his own doing, but
took the easy line through there, didn't he? He'll get himself a warning.
Yeah, it's not F1 yet. Just trying it out.
Yeah, Jura,
we might have a change a bit further ahead. Yeah,
we're going for a change. Jura tried the move, I think, on Mikowski. Oh, there's a touch, Jay. There's a touch. Durapetchenko has to find what he should have done earlier on, or Samir should have done earlier on to save him from having that spin. And it does look like Samir Foch is going to be right in this fight now, Jay. That cheeky use of the rumble strip that it's all fine to go straight across there has actually got him straight back into this fight.
He didn't gain an advantage.
We didn't.
He kept the advantage he had.
He's very lucky he didn't get a straight penalty for that, though.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, at least you know
designer of track limits from KUNOS might want to look into that.
Yep. If you do a little half spin in turn 13, you can go straight through to 15, and there's no problem whatsoever.
They're normally a little bit more lenient in the wet, but not that much more.
Well, Samir obviously knew exactly what he can do, and unfortunately the stewards would have been watching because we were watching. So yeah, never mind.
But it was all a dream.
Yeah, well, did you see anything?
Nope.
No, I didn't see anything either. Absolutely nothing.
We just lost the lap because this is the exact order and positions they were a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, nothing happened in my opinion. Anyway, Tinker van der Velde leading away. Second place, Luke Whitehead. Gert Fischer hasn't been able to close that gap, but Barentine Barrier is still there and threatening. Jardier, unfortunately, will lose his 5th place, but he's there at the moment. So 5th would be Tada, 6th would be Grantis, 7th would be Papin, 8th would be Nikita, 9th would be Papin, and Luke would be in 10th place. And then we're watching what's going on here for 11th, 12th and 13th. So yeah, there we go, little rundown. I think Jardier will definitely be outside of this little fight, possibly, maybe. He might actually sneak in between Southall and Patat. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it depends how these battles finish up the next few laps.
Mini Simeon said it was a pirouette, a half gainer, and a rejoin. Ole.
The triple threat.
Yeah, 100%. That worked like a charm.
And nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here, indeed. Right, what's going on a little bit further down? I don't want to miss what happens with this little battle, but we do have some other boys getting somewhat closer. The next little fight that we've got on behind the boys that we are watching is Leto, Inestrosa and Burnt, who are a little triple threat in themselves, actually. That
yeah, they could do a couple more laps because they've been rapidly approaching that battle ahead. And I don't think they're quite going to get there by the end, but yeah, interesting fight between them.
We've got
Strange, Inestrosa looked really good in quali. At times, or practice.
I just don't think the Honda's that strong around here. I think it's okay. Maybe it's just different people can't get the setup right on it, I don't know. I've hopped back a little further, Jay, with Dimitrov, King and Lee for 19th place. King suffering a little bit and struggling with that massive bull. Dimitrov also in the AMG, so it's probably worse meets worse. And then behind them is Lee, who's struggling to get past both of them because of the conditions.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Darren's always had some really good race starts and some good opening lap position makeups. It'd be good to see him. I know he's doing it for the memes, but it'd be good to see him back in a competitive car next season to see what kind of pace he's actually got. Because his racecraft early on is very good. We saw that we've been making up positions nicely in sort of 15th, 16th early on, but yeah, just slipped back since then because of the pace. and see if Dimitrov fancied a look. Is it the straight line speed he likes of that Lambo? Let's see. Down the main straight.
They're all calling tyres by the looks of things. I think the tyres are screaming at this stage. Because King was definitely over onto that wet patch. Maybe to break the toe, who knows?
Yeah, take anything you can get. Absolutely.
Just seeing what the gaps is to that little battle that we were watching earlier with Durapechchenko and Makowski. Still 4/10 or so. Not massive, but kind of hovering. Seems to be, that's probably the sentiment of the race. Not massive, but hovering. Always there. Looming, but not threatening.
It could break out into an absolute frenzy at any moment. It hasn't, but it could.
It could. Just a large threaten.
The edging of GT3 races.
Oh god, not that phrase again. Glimmeril says Lambo is the car of choice, I think, for Jean Alesi team. He has just joined. I think maybe he's getting some seat time in it, question mark. That could be why. Is that a thing? Why would an esports team purposely choose a car that's not doing too well at the moment? Is that a thing?
Maybe.
I just don't see the.
I mean, the esports teams do change around cars between series.
Okay.
Some of them do, for the purpose of setups and familiarity, stick with the same ones, but unless they're in a specific series that requires all the manufacturers, in which case, you know, Lamborghini might have been the car they've been given.
Yeah.
Or need. Such as maybe the supporting series 2 GT Blancpain series, maybe, question mark, don't know.
Apparently it could have been
car. There is going to be a new Evo, that's true.
It could have been due to sponsorship links, possibly, though, or they have that car. Getting
Racing were always with Ferrari.
Well, not anymore. Jean has parted ways with the prancing horse.
Well, yes, I know.
Jean is not one.
I've seen him driving a Sauber and many other cars since then.
And he's touching Jeremy Clarkson's lovely bits inside of a Lotus.
Exactly.
It was a Lotus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was. You get your own Jean Alesi.
Everybody wants their own Jean Alesi.
Can you imagine? You get to your racetrack hotel, Jean Alesi tucks you into bed. Anything else I could do for you? No, Jean.
Just one more grape, Jean.
Actually, my feet are quite cold, Jean. Could you just tuck them in? Thank you. Just Jean, stay with me for the whole entirety of my weekend here. He does, actually. He does. Yeah, he'll be cooking for you, waiting on you.
Doesn't have to, but he does. He seems to like it.
We can't get him
We
away.
can't get him to go home.
Peek through your window, and Jean was just standing there, like, oh, hello. Don't want to alarm anyone, but Jean Alesi won't leave the side of my room.
He's also still in his overalls. It's really disconcerting. I don't even have overalls. I'm pretty sure they're the ones I'm supposed to be wearing.
Oh god, stolen my underpants. Get out of there, John.
Is all over the back of Tadas, by the way.
Is it? We got some news, have we? Sorry, I think most of us and the chat were falling asleep with what's going on right now. It's not exactly enthralling or nail-biting.
We still have battles. Fancy Barry is getting close to Gert Fischer for the final podium position.
Fantastic.
Nothing going between it, but yeah, it's Grandes Caracas that has closed up pretty considerably, half a second on that last lap to Tadas. It's obviously a little mistake somewhere for Tadas.
Quite possibly.
Porsche versus Porsche though, so it's not going to be easy to find his way past.
Only a minute and a half to go, Jay. We almost Jean Alesi'd ourselves out of the race time.
Good old Jean Alesi filler, and suddenly we haven't got enough time. You can never have enough time with Jean Alesi.
You can't. You can never have enough time with Jean Alesi. I reckon that just most holidays should come with ex-French Formula 1 drivers.
You know what? I've never met him, though. He might be a dickhead.
He might be really horrible.
Yeah, might be like the worst person. But
can you imagine you wake up in the morning...
It seems like a nice idea to have a Jean Alesi around.
You get met at your courtesy car by Olivier Panis, and then you get checked in by Jean Alesi. And Alain Prost comes and tucks you in on an evening. You're served food by Sebastian whoever. Bordeaux? Is that the one? Bordeaux? Is he French? He's French, isn't he? Grantis Caracas in 7th place, just behind Tadej
Well,
Vinicus.
it is French. John Lacey isn't.
Is he Italian?
He is.
Ah, well, you know, same thing,
No,
really.
he's French. Who am I thinking of?
Jean Lacey. He sounds French to me, but I think he's French-Italian.
He's French-Italian.
He's both, it's fine.
Because I feel like the stat is that he's the last Italians need to win a Grand Prix.
I think he's the best of both worlds. It's espresso coffee on an afternoon whilst eating a baguette. What could you not like? It's flamboyancy with speed.
It is an occasional unreliability.
With a splattering of unreliability. Oh dear. Anyway, we digress again.
Yes.
Sorry, 20 seconds to go. We'll get rid of Jean Lacey from our minds.
Will be the final lap then.
Yeah, it could quite be. Well, it definitely is. We've got Luke Whitehead is coming round turns 9, I think, at the moment. The Alex Rogers says it's the opera with a croissant. It is. It's exactly that. It is. Oh dear.
Refined music with many crumbs.
Yeah, it's a cigarette and a Citroen all day long. Right, Gert Fischer is in third place behind Luke Whitehead, but he's being hounded by Valentin Barrier. I don't know if Valentin Barrier is going to get a move done before the end here, because Tinker van der Velde is coming into the final section here. Luke Whitehead is that little bit far away. I'll stay with Valentin Barrier in this little fight. I don't think he's going to have enough in hand to get past. Grantis Caracas is getting incredibly close, but the man of the minute of the hour, it is Tinker van der Velde. He comes across the line to claim his first victory of the season. The current reigning champ gets himself 100 points finally, and then battle-scarred Luke Whitehead comes across the line in second place. Gert Fischer, another podium. He's going to be beside himself with joy. As we've got some of the other boys coming through almost side by side. Grantis Caracas and Jut Vinicus coming across the line in 6th and 7th place. They might gain one because of what happened around them. Nikita managed to finish it out in 9th, possibly 10th, possibly 8th, sorry. Arthur Patek comes across the line. Luke Southall and this little gaggle of cars. Krzysztof Makowski, Jura Petchenko, Samir Foch manages to actually finish the race. And we've got Mace Lato, Angel Inestrosa and Leon Byrne all the way down to Naldi and Darren King crossing the line. Won't go any further down, Jake, because we'll get lost. But what a race, I guess, towards the end. We did lose track a little bit of what's going on. Everyone, I think, found pace and tyres were coming into things, weren't they, really?
That's a good description of most races. There were tyres and some pace and some stuff. Yeah, no, it wasn't a barnstormer. There was some good tactical racing in there. I think we were a little bit robbed, unfortunately, with Samir's spin, because that was the real story of the race. Was
Yes.
That undercut that would have made, I think, the last 15, 20 minutes with that top 10 incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, just dominant from Van der Velde. Weathered a 40, 50-minute attack from Luke Whitehead and actually forced a mistake from the Ripper. And just showed the pace all the way throughout. So, shame the Ferrari hasn't been a bit more competitive at some other tracks, because I think we'd have a much tighter title battle between those two, because they're very evenly matched.
Indeed.
But yeah, story apart from Smear has got to be Gert Fischer again, as you say, with that second podium in a row.
Well,
he's just really finding form with the BMW.
He is. He's going to be very, very happy indeed. Well, we'll have a chat with the top 3. I know, obviously, we've kept you a little longer than normal chat, so apologies. We'll make this as quick as possible. What I'll do, I'll just, every time I ask Luke Whitehead a question, I'll just quickly interject and go no, and cut him down before we get the normal life story that we get given. I'm only joking, of course. But I'm just going to invite them all into a chat, Jay. So talk some more about what you thought was good about this race. Before Jean Lacey runs in your room and, you know, tries to give you food.
I can't think of anything apart from Lacey, I'll be honest. But no, I think it was the tightness of that top 10 battle. There were a lot of people involved. There was not necessarily as many wheel-to-wheel battles as we've seen in previous races, but it was really tight running, and some people in that top 10 we haven't seen for a while as well, which was good that the rain or the track sort of brought that out into the fore. But no, it's a cracking little race.
That's,
I just about made it through it.
Yeah,
so
well, I think first of all, hats off. Dragged me round there half the time as well. I've lost interest. No, I'm joking. Right, let's see who is here first of all. It's the race winner. Let's get Tinko in before the other guys find their way round. And well, he's finally got himself into the top spot. Tinko, well done. Was that the game plan all along to force old Luke Whitehead into a bit of an undercut situation, or did you just have good pace today?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I mean, I had no plan, no strategy. I didn't really practice. I had a lot of races during the weekend, so didn't really have any energy today. But yeah, Luke pitted early, and I just pitted one lap early or later to not let him undercut me, and yeah, I gained a lot out of the pits. I don't know why, a second or something.
Yeah, we noticed that there was a bit of a disconnect between. Obviously, normally we'd have thought the undercut would have given a bit of a benefit, but maybe his in lap or his out lap, something to do with whatever he did there, was just not good. We didn't see most of the out lap, so there could have been something coming out of the pit that we missed.
Yeah, I think something must have happened. Maybe he got moved in the box. I don't know.
Possibly.
But yeah, then he made a mistake, which was a shame because he was catching pretty quickly, and was quite looking forward to the battle. But yeah.
Yeah, he lost it. I think turns 15, 14, 15 around there. Just span like a little half spin. Yeah, we did.
See it yet.
We thought that he was he's possibly just holding back in that second stint just to maybe get the tyres underneath him so he could put on a final couple of laps push. But yeah, unfortunately, just lost the rear end in the slow corner. But I mean, fantastic for you. You know, really good for your points. You know, you'll be on 378 now. So, you know, catching up, I think it will put you in second place. You know, just you got to hope that Luke has a couple more disasters. But I know Suzuka's pretty good for the Porsche.
I don't know.
Nürburgring's pretty good for a Porsche. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Look, you've done everything you can. You got yourself two podiums. Oh, 2 podiums? Yeah, two podiums already. And so
that's 3 in a row now.
Third, yeah.
2 seconds and a win.
Yeah. I mean, he's got himself 3 podiums as well, now 4. I mean, it's completely possible that things could change around, so don't...
Yeah, I think if I didn't spin in Silverstone and go to a better qualifying, it would be probably almost equal in points, so it's a shame, but yeah.
Never mind. Well, you're right up there. You're still reigning champ at the moment, so can't take that away from you, buddy. Congrats on the win. And I'm sure we'll speak to you again next week.
Cheers, guys.
No problem. See you soon, buddy. Let's have a little listen then, see what Luke says, see how it went for him. Obviously, a little bit of a disaster in the car in the second stint. Jay, take it away.
What?
Yeah, dump you straight in there without you knowing. How are you doing, Luke?
Mate, I'm dead.
Sorry, I'll take over. Luke, congrats.
Luke, it's no.
No, go on.
It's second place. It's not the wins you've been used to this season, but how did the race go? He saw you pushing on in that second stint to try and find some time on Tinko, and then we saw a little half spin. But how was the race? How were the conditions? How was that for you?
First off, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rage. Good evening, Jamie. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, I'm just confused more than anything, honestly. The Porsche is meant to be strong on acceleration, so to be getting gapped by 3/10 out of every corner just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, I don't know whether it's something with my setup or whether the Ferrari's just quicker in these conditions. I don't really know. Because, I mean, in the first stint, I made hardly any mistakes, and Tinko was overshooting corners and just driving away, so nothing I really could have done in the first stint. I did pretty much everything right. Second stint, I got overcut, which, again, doesn't really make much sense. Then pushed like hell, was catching, and then, of course, had that spin. But I honestly don't think it would have changed anything. I mean, I was quicker across the race, but once I got to the back of Tinko, I would have just been stuck there. I would not have had a chance to get past. So it was a very frustrating one. But, you know, I was the highest finishing Porsche, and I think no matter where I would have qualified, I don't think the result really would have changed all that much, to be honest. Which is a bit demoralising, honestly, because I felt like the setup was as good as I could get it. Felt like I was driving as good as I could get. But yeah, just didn't have what Tinko had. Didn't have that edge, which is a shame, really. But, you know, again, damage limitation as always. We didn't lose too many points, which is fine. So yeah, just got to make the most of the next races and hope hope that I'm slightly more competitive there.
Well, sometimes you need those days that are a little bit head scratchy and a little bit make you go
Well,
back to the drawing board.
I mean,
You know,
I'd say that if I know I was making mistakes, but I mean, I had a rough week last week with performances that just weren't good enough by my standards at all. And then this week, I drove as well as I think I could have done today. Obviously, the spin didn't help, but I think even for all intents and purposes, the spin didn't really change anything.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I drove like hell, drove as fast as I could, and it wasn't quick enough. And you know, in the wet weather, you know, Porsche feels pretty good. It was a bit of a surprise, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, Tinko
Hey,
did
it keeps
right,
things
so.
interesting, and you've
I don't
had
want interesting. I want easy.
there's no such thing in sim racing, I'm
No.
afraid, buddy. At whatever level. They're the reasons we keep coming back to it, and we love it, and it is so competitive. But you know, to get a second place out of a weekend you're really not happy with, it's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it was a shame really that turn one happened. I mean, we lost a bit of time to Tinko there, so it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what happened to Petrochenko. I don't know if he locked up or whether Tinko turned in. Don't really know what happened.
I think it was just turn 2 shenanigans, really. I don't think it was
Yeah.
anyone's to blame, really, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it did look that way from my side, but yeah.
No further
Usually-
action, at least, in race control, so I think
okay.
they looked at it and just thought, you know, is what it is. Unfortunately for Dura, he had a fantastic race, really, came back, and the
Yeah, he
first or
was
second...
fast.
Samir went from P20 to P5 on an undercut, so the
And
undercut in that Ferrari...
Did he get binned? I don't actually know what happened.
Well, I don't know at the beginning. I've no idea. Something
No,
happened.
no.
anyway.
I mean with Jards.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. They met in turn 2 together after they also met in turn 1.
That's awkward.
But for both of them as well, it's awkward, right? They're
Yeah,
good friends,
yeah.
but yeah, never mind.
Yeah, and they're in voice chat. I'm glad I wasn't in that voice chat. 'Cause last time it happened with Barrier and Jards, it wasn't very fun to be hearing, and then this one I could only imagine.
Oh, dear. I think it probably would have been taken quite lightly because I think Samir was lucky to be where he was, just generally anyway. But...
Yeah, Samir drove really well. I've got to be honest. Samir drove really well. He looked really quick in practice, so he can be really happy with the job he did. But it's just a shame it didn't. You know, he didn't get rewarded with a good result.
He could have technically if he'd just held on a little bit and possibly got a little bit further up in quali. I don't know if he got caught up at the beginning, but he could have possibly come away with the podium. He was that fast. We were surprised in quali how well he was doing, but it's an older track.
Definitely.
We were saying, it's an older track.
I think he just likes the rain. Like he's
Possibly.
been really quick in the rain. Like at LFM Pro, for example, he came from like 18th or something in the dry quali, or in the wet quali. Sorry, and finished 4th. And was like one of the quickest on track. So he's really quick in the wet. But yeah, it's a shame really for him. But yeah, I mean we'll see what happens. I believe the next round Suzuka.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that? And
Yep.
it's Nürburgring. So
Yeah. I mean, Tinko was quite despondent when we discussed that with him. He said, I think it's somewhat a foregone conclusion. How do you deem that? Do you think that's like, almost fair game there?
Nothing's ever a foregone conclusion, is it? Nothing's ever over till it's over. So, got to see what we can do. I know obviously the Mercs and the Hondas will be extremely quick at Suzuka. Nürburgring, I have no idea. Honestly, I mean, Gert Fischer's been looking really quick, so he could always put a spanner in the works. Because he's been, got 2 podiums in a row, and Nürburgring is a good track for the M4. So is Suzuka actually, so he could come away with 2 podiums. He could be one to watch. I would honestly say that. So, but yeah, I'm not happy with the pace, but I'm happy with my performance.
I think you should be.
So,
I think you should be. Anyway, mate, congrats on at least another podium, and you're marching away at least with the championship. Although it wasn't as many points as you wanted today, it's still a good old bucket load. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again next week.
fingers crossed.
No
hopefully.
worries.
But yeah, take care, boys.
Have a good week, buddy. We'll speak soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
And we'll get the man of the hour in because another fantastic race, another fantastic performance. Jay, you've not met Gert yet, so welcome back to the comms box for another podium, buddy. Did you think that was even going to happen again?
Thank you. No, not at all. I mean, I started practice yesterday. I was on the practice server, and I'm like, I had no idea how my pace would be. And then in the practice server, I was like, wow, my pace is pretty good. So, it's crazy again, but
it all just came together. You think then more so than, it was a race that you thought you could possibly win. You came and did some practice and just thought, wow, actually, car's got pace, I've got pace, could be on for something here.
Yeah. I mean, I only found out, just before the race that the pace was good and the quali was good, and the quali was crazy. Within a tenth, the first what was it?
I think it was the top
10
7
guys or something.
Yeah, within a tenth.
I mean,
It was like the top 7 or 8 cars, which is ridiculous.
yeah. So I mean that is just awesome. So and then you know the BMW is just a very consistent car, and yeah, I mean I didn't expect it here. I mean like after last race I was hoping there was more, and with my rough start to the season, but I made a pretty good choice picking BMW after all, I think. So
You're definitely the fastest BMW out there. You're definitely the most yellow, so that counts. That's helping you.
yeah. Yeah, it's a shame the livery is not entirely showing, but I'm definitely the most yellow. Yeah.
Oh, is it
Anyways,
not?
yeah.
Is it not fully showing? The only thing I
Yeah,
can
but
say
it's
is
also yellow.
make sure that you're definitely choosing the livery that you submitted, because that's the only thing that goes wrong. Like if
Yeah.
you've got like multiple liveries, just make sure it's the exact same one that you submit, because it shows. It doesn't show
Did you
fully
just
for
cut out?
us.
Did I just cut out?
Oh no, it might have been me.
I'm sorry, everyone.
It's okay.
Hello?
Hello. I can still hear you. You're still here.
Oh.
Can you hear us?
I think you're cutting out.
Oh no, Jamie, am I cutting out for you
Are
as
you
well?
being DDoSed?
I don't know.
Rage?
Yes, that's it.
Possible. I DDoS Rage.
I can't. Oh, it is on me. 1 second.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We've lost Gert to the
Oh.
to the internet fairies by the sounds of things.
No, my headset is broken since right before the race. So.
Okay, all right. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Well, anyway, buddy, we'll let you go before it breaks even further. Thanks for joining us again, and congrats on another podium, buddy. And hopefully we'll speak to you again. There's still 2 races left. Still plenty of action to come.
I think so too.
And we'll try and get your livery fixed for next race.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Jamie. So.
Yep, and you make great job. Keep it up.
Speak soon, buddy. Hopefully.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Well, there you go, guys. That was the top 3. Gert again into the comms box. He's again the most improved driver for me this season. It's been really good to have a chat with him, because he was so happy when he came into the comms box last week, because it was just a surprise.
I'm not surprised. He's gone from P22 to P33 to P20 to third and third.
Yeah, no.
It's quite an uptick in form.
It is. It is.
You know, you can't. Yeah, he must be over the moon right now. And, yeah, hopefully that continues, and he's found something in that car. Because yeah, it's great to see a BMW up there and a different manufacturer. You know, getting in on the fun.
He's gonna be banging himself up inside the top 10 now. I reckon he'll be maybe 8th or so, 9th, somewhere around there.
Should just be inside the top 10.
Yeah, so fantastic for him. Well, guys, I know it was a late start to this one, so we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us for the entirety of the hour and a half or however long it's been that we were stopped for at the beginning. Guys, if you want to join us tomorrow, obviously it won't be me and Jamie, but it will be the other comms team. I think it's John and Tim, possibly, that do the tier 2 stuff. So hop on down if you want to see what's going over there. The championship is still wide open. We've still got Simone, Jay and Josh all within 10 points of each other. You got Jean-Sebastian Casanega also in it for a championship fight. Oh my god, so is Alejandro Alves, so is Barnabas Fazekas, and so is Aliso Miles. They're all still within 40 points of each other. So's Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci. There's lots of French people in this one, and Dutches. So jump on board for us tomorrow at 7:30 for Tier 2 round a wet Barcelona. Anything can happen. I'm sure that running order will jumble up considering the conditions. So you can find that same time, same place, but tomorrow. And you can join me and Jamie next week. We will be round... where are we going? Suzuka next time, hopefully with no incidents with servers at the beginning. Anything to end on, Jamie, apart from Lensip and iced tea maybe?
No, send plenty of that and bats of honey. But no, it's good to be back. I'm sorry I missed last week, but
No problem. It's all
and
good.
hopefully we're clean for the rest of the season. And yeah, look forward to Suzuka. It's normally a really good track for racing, and yeah, it's been a surprise every round so far as to sort of who can get that into that top 10 battle and the fights that go on between. So yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I am indeed. Well, join us next week, guys. We shall see you then for round 6 with only 2 to go next week. Ciao for now.
In a bit.